Che fai?
Is that Italian?
Yeah.
Do you speak fluently?
Not fluently, but I speak Italian.
Better than me. I can't even pronounce things correctly off a menu, so.
I've been there 5 times. Yeah. I went and saw Sade, Milan.
Shut it. Wait, with
G-Spot.
Yeah, I remember seeing the posts on
Yeah.
Insta. Okay, we're starting fresh.
Right.
We're gonna do this. Kathy with a K in Honolulu. This is DJ Daniel J. And I want to do talk
And
stories
still-
and interviews and conversations with people that I really dig. And the common thread has been either radio or music, going out, and just mainly Hawaii. That's the main thing, because I don't really get off island much or out of the 808. Everything's been
Right. There's a
like
history
here.
to the music of Hawaii and how it all begat, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
on all the levels of broadcasting and DJing and being in clubs and the music and the concerts and all that. I think there's the big thread is that we all love it, you know, and we all love all kinds of music, you know, and all kinds of things. And the history does get lost, you know, because it's such a transient place. There is a hardcore that's been here the whole time, but
Hello.
it changes all the time.
Daniel J. is originally from San Francisco.
Yeah.
But I've always known, when I first got to know Daniel, and just through the years, I always thought of you as just being from Hawaii. And everyone's, to varying degrees, local, Kama'aina. A lot of people are more local than me. I was like born and raised here, and whatever local is. Well, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna
Definitely
do?
your accent's not Hawaiian. You
Well,
would never get your born and
I
raised
can
here, that's
switch it
for
up
sure.
with the best of them.
Well.
Okay, San Francisco. San Francisco.
San Francisco.
You originally got introduced to the music scene or club scene or disco scene via your sister.
Well, actually, it was my neighbors down the block.
Okay.
And they were just moved from New York. And I had befriended them, the brother and the older sister. Mm-hmm. And they told me about this disco. It was an underage disco called the Down and Under. And it was kind of in the little seedier part of town,
When
California.
you say disco, do you mean like...
Disco. I mean disco. This
And
is
not the
1970, 76.
And back then, disco
70,
was like, it
75,
was whatever was on the
76.
radio was commercialized. So a lot of the things...
Sure.
Right?
Absolutely. There was
Okay.
Disco Duck and, you know, I Want to Join a Big Convoy and all those disco songs
Gosh,
too.
Yeah, I remember 8-track. That was a whole...
Right?
Yeah, missing
It was
an
still-
entire bridge because it was switching from one track to the next.
I totally have a vivid memory of my brother having one of those like rape vans, you know, the one with no windows.
Yeah.
And he had like a bed in the back and the furry furniture, and he had an 8-track of Ted Nugent, Cat Scratch Fever. And I just remember that so vividly, that 8-track in his weird-ass van.
There were no windows. Like, how do you
Yeah,
drive and
anyway.
navigate? Yeah.
It was because, you know, it was definitely my brother was part of the 60s generation and being communal and living in stuff and going surfing and camping and all that. So
Was he part of the whole Half Moon Bay, making the trek?
totally.
Yeah.
I mean, all of that. Plus, you know, yeah, city San Francisco life, Haight-Ashbury type things. He ran away to the Haight-Ashbury once. Anyway, I digress.
No,
So the
that's
disco
great.
season started, and my neighbors down the block were totally into it from New York already. Like, what? Where's the disco? You know? And so my mother relented. She was actually pretty free about letting me do whatever I wanted to do. It was hard to control. And so she was also a dancer too. So she related to it. Big band dancer. She would go dancing every weekend at the Alibaba in Oakland, which was like a spring-loaded dance floor, and had a big band playing there live. So it was her scene, and so she allowed me to go check out my scene basically at 11 years old.
Were you like, there's some kids who come to it because they just like listening to the music or dancing, or were you just drawn to what the person who was spinning the records?
Well, I really always liked dance music, definitely. And before I even went to the disco, I was like, had a connection with the Tower Records down the block from my house. And I was always raiding their 45 collection, maybe stealing a few. I had a friend who was a security guard. But anyway, I digress again.
That's notable. There are certain people that we remember, and they just kind of pop up when we're going down memory lane about certain instances. And security people, bouncers, and then, just the various staff members at clubs and
they always
stations.
had the big giant pop-outs of things, and like I had a 6-foot real life of Bootsy Collins in my room. It drove my mom crazy that I had this giant 6-foot tall black man in my room in the corner.
Glasses, right. Yeah. She seemed okay when she met me. I don't know.
So she let me go to this disco, which was the change of my life. And it was underage, and I was underage to be in the underage disco. Luckily, my sister knew the owner, and so the owner took me under his wing and said, okay, you can come in, but you're white, and everyone else here is mostly black.
Do you remember the name of the nightclub?
Oh, it was called the Down and Under.
Okay.
Yeah, it was underneath California Hall, so it was downstairs and was underage. So
Does it still exist?
No. But thank you, Kevin, for starting my life. He was the owner.
So I don't want to shift you too far forward, but was there a big gap between like your teen years and then like getting to Hawaii? Because I met you in the early mid 1990s through Radio Free Hawaii, which was the first radio station I worked at. But I guess hopping back to California, you have radio background and music background all that kind of stuff prior to KDEO.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, when I was I was always infatuated with radio as a kid. And there was a famous DJ, Dr. Don Rose on KFRC. And I ended up getting a job there very young, around the time of the disco, this whole disco thing, and answering phones. So I was totally tuned into the radio biz and like wanted to be a radio DJ also. But
what did that mean to you, being drawn to to be talking on the radio? Did you want to just
it was
nonstop or play music? It's like I heard this great record and this, reading the liner notes. I mean, back then we could read the record sleeve and the liner notes, and that kind of thing in magazines. And
I wish I want to say that it was a passion for music at that point, but it wasn't. I loved music. I loved disco music, and I loved dance music and pop music in general, mostly pop music at that time, KFRC. But how amazing it was to be a DJ because everyone loved you. You were doing something fun. You laughed while you worked. It didn't seem like work. Anything that's been in my life that I've been pretty good at it never seemed like work to me. And so those are all the things that I always try to gravitate to, things that make me happy and fun to do for a living, And DJing is definitely one of them, So on radio or off radio, I'm more comfortable in a nightclub because that's what I've done all my life. So being on radio DJ when I got the chance here in Hawaii on Radio Free Hawaii was totally...
It was a natural fit because... Well, we'll get to the dance floor democracy with the Pink's Garage on Waimanu.
Waimanu Street.
I get it mixed up. There's Waimalu near Pearl City, and Waimanu, which is just that
comes
street
the radio copy.
I try to be accurate. Before geotagging, that's pretty much where I was at. So the DJ,
disco thing and this club, for the first year, the owner only allowed me to be in the DJ booth or go to the beverage area. He didn't let me hang out in the dance floor because he kind of worried about me. I was really pretty much the only white boy going to this place. It was mostly Hispanics, and the blacks from the two neighborhoods, the Mission District and the Western Addition in San Francisco, were right next to it. So, and this is the age of the breakers and the.
That was really pop. It was new. It's either you were into disco or you were into
rock. Right.
Rock.
Yeah.
And hip hop didn't exist. It was like music.
Well, funk existed. Yeah. So Parliament and all those groups existed. Tower of Power and all that. So that was really the melding of. There was two definitely distinct different scenes. There was the disco side of it and the funk side of it. And this place integrated both very well. And the DJ was amazing at mixing the dance floor and making a roller coaster of keeping it going, you know, not going in one style too long.
Was that unique for that club? I mean, were there most clubs like that, or were they like very strictly, like how it is these days? If you want rock music, you go here. If you want like reggae music.
Well, I think because of its mixture of the diverse groups of neighborhoods that were going there, and also the one was enveloping for a long time, and disco kind of was new. You know, it was still new. You know, it started in the early 70s, but it was still new, and so was blossoming. Funk had been around for a while, so it was kind of the mainstay of what you did on a dance floor was funk. So to integrate them was definitely a natural. Now, I have to say, in the adult nightclubs, like you went to Studio West, where I ended up working afterwards, after being at the Down and Under and kind of growing for a few years there. By the time I was 15, I was working at a big disco, giant disco. And it was pretty much strictly disco. You weren't playing funk. But if you worked at a pop club, you played funk, you played disco, you played pop. And so I did all those things. I had all those different kinds of DJ jobs because I started DJing professionally from the age of 15 on. And fast forwarding it to Hawaii, I had been DJing from 15 to basically 21. And on my 21st birthday, I came to Hawaii for my birthday. I broke up with my girlfriend. I was brokenhearted, and my mom took me here for vacation. Now, we've vacationed here our whole lives in Hawaii. We used to trade our house for a house over here in the summers from the age of 5, 6, 7, and 8, and 9. So I spent most of my summers in Hawaii as a kid. So I had
you had friendships and relationships here,
a love for the place, you know, that I was.
See, that's why by the time I met you, it totally made sense. Like I thought that you were already here.
Right. Yeah. Well, I was though. I was here for quite a while, from 1985.
Gee whiz.
So I'd worked at the Wave that whole time, in 85 to basically 91.
Okay.
And then I moved to the Pink Cadillac and the Pink's Garage.
Oh, okay.
And that's where my relationship started with Radio Free Hawaii. Is when, you know, the Wave was a really big deal.
Yes.
It was a big deal because of the format of music. And I had been a big part of that for a long time, and breaking imported music from Europe. And it was a mixture of rock. There was really you didn't play hip hop there, rock, but all the different genres of rock, you know, from ska to pop to new wave. And to straight up rock and roll, you know, and those were all the different.
And then there was live local bands who were playing there.
Right. Well, they were, you know, obviously a super part of what made that place really tick is that it had both these elements, and it went till 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, the cabaret license
and so it was a melting pot of everyone who got off work. Like 1:30, there was bands, so there was two different clienteles that were popping and connecting with each other, and so. That was it. Some very, very, you know, Frank Orr is in Thievery Corporation, Poi Dog Pondering, and still rocking it. And he's, you know, was one of the, Hat Makes the Man was one of the original bands there. And all of the players from Hat Makes a Man still perform, sing, and do great things, you know. And Sonia, from Sonia and the Revolution, who is the one who actually got me the job at the Wave. I met her at the Pink Cadillac, and I was hanging out with her. I was hitting on her, actually.
Is that how it always starts?
But she actually took me under her wing and introduced me to Jack Law and got me an audition. And so I borrowed the records from the DJ at the Pink Cadillac, who, like Sean Fernald, who played all this imported cool stuff that I was playing too while I was in San Francisco.
Yeah.
But not as much as I was still playing disco and funk, but I was starting to play at the alternative clubs, and that was like going, oh, that's what I really like. And then I was like, this is an opportunity to change my whole persona from the disco funk pop club DJ to the alternative underground rock DJ.
So when your 21st birthday, breakup, your mom's like, let's go to Hawaii. Let's just clear our minds.
Yep.
So you landed, even though you've been here off and on since you were 6 years old.
Yeah.
How did was your 21st birthday when you were like, I'm never going back?
I got the job at the Wave.
Okay.
I auditioned and got the job.
Okay.
Actually, to put some history on it, New Order played the week I got here at the Wave.
Duh, they're like on my bucket list. I need
Right.
to
So
see
they had
them,
played
yeah.
the Wave, and I got to see them, and it was pretty much that night that I ended up back over at the Pink Cadillac, and I met Sonia, and she hooked me up with the job, and I ended up working there for a good 7 years.
Wow.
And while I was working there, I started throwing house parties, and that's where the Love Club started, and it was like another side of me. And I started a radio show, a hip hop mix show, an I-94, which was the
Nice.
first actual,
KIKI.
yeah, the first mix show in Hawaii ever.
What, do you remember the programmer at
Oh.
the time?
Oh, who was the programmer?
Or even like other people who might have been on
Oh,
there?
Sean Till Dawn.
Okay.
And the interns were Lanai.
Oh,
and what's his name? Oh my God, the other intern. He's got a morning radio show. Jimmy the Geek.
oh my God.
We're all the interns from the show.
That's so cute because I work with Jimmy now and we like talk about radio and
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, he's been
He's been since the
been
start.
in-
Yeah. Yeah, Lanai and Jimmy and Alan Arado. Alan AAA. Alan
yes,
Arado.
yeah.
And the program director, I can't remember his name, but I came to him fully loaded.
Okay.
So I said, I got this mix show. It's not playing any of the music that's on your radio station, which was unheard of, first of all. You just didn't do that.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I'll take a few of the songs that you play on your radio station. I'll put it in this mix. And I was going to this thing in New York called the New Music Seminar. And it was so influential in everything I did. I go there and catch all the trends and say, I got to bring it back to Hawaii. I got to bring techno back to Hawaii. I got to bring house music back to
Wait,
Hawaii.
I'm just gonna put a pin in here because you were just like when you were younger, it was about the DJ getting into radio, the DJ because he was famous and how fun it is.
Yeah.
And then as you matured,
Oh,
was it because of exposure to music, or were you just like the grasp of like there's a lot of stuff that's just not being featured here in the U.S. or exposed in Hawaii?
Well,
Like, and that's so great that you were excited about it. That's hot.
Yeah, well, I mean, I had the pulpit, if you want to call it that. I had